Hello everybody and welcome to your MLG Season 2 Pro League action. The last game of the playoffs, in fact. One spot remaining for that X Games place in Austin, Texas. 2 games to battle out to try and get that spot. Let's find out what we're dealing here in NAR versus Champions of Summer's Rift in a best of 3. I'm not alone today. I'm joined by Nahaz, my co-caster, and Kart on stats. How you doing, Nahaz?
I'm doing great, man. Two great teams in a dramatic battle for the final spot in Austin at the X Games. This should be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Now, Summer's Rift, they've had a few roster changes. They didn't do so well in the TI5 qualifiers, the open qualifiers anyway. They've lost Dragon Fist and Banana Slam Jammer. I have troubles with that with the username with my British accent. You know, Cap's fine with it, Banana Slam Jammer, but my extended A doesn't make it sound quite right. But they have a couple of good standards. Nikwa and Tralf both getting in there, while over on NAR, no Korok instead have Crit.
Yeah. Nikwa is the one I'm really looking forward to watching because, boy, I mean, I know a lot of people were really surprised recently when he was let go from Alliance so that they could take back on Admiral Bulldog. And if anything, the way that we've seen the meta evolve since then is really perfectly suited to his playstyle. Nikwa, a guy that, an offlane player that excels on teamfight heroes, excels at initiation, plays a lot of Phoenix, plays a lot of Clockwork. You know, he's a guy that I think is really well suited to this patch and should be a pretty good fit here on this team.
Yeah, I think the 3 heroes, you mentioned a couple of them that I really liked him playing were Bristleback, Void, Clockwork, and he just excelled at these initiating and brawling heroes that are so great in this patch, you're right. But this draft so far, no big surprises with the bans out, you know. Visage, as well as the Wisp, taken out by NAR, the Queen of Pain, and then a Clockwork for Summer's Rift. They don't want MSS on his Clockwork, I don't think, but picks up Shadow Fiend, Shadow Demon, and Darkseer for NAR, while Summer's Rift get that fabled Bounty Hunter, which over the past week and a half or so we've seen a lot of, especially CIS teams. You know, VG have played it a couple of times over at the Summit, but we've also seen VP picking it up a lot, and he's such an annoying hero. Regardless of whether NAR have a jungler like Enchantress or Chen, he still does a lot of work.
No, I mean, do not, folks, raise your eyebrows at the first phase Bounty Hunter anymore. This hero is just off to the races in this current patch. He's 32-18. He's got the highest win rate of any hero with 20 or more appearances so far in 6.84. Teams have just been exploiting the hell out of track and exploiting the hell out of this fact that this hero's now been buffed in a couple of straight patches. And, you know, as Ice Frog is wont to do, he buffs these heroes until they make an appearance in the metagame, and Bounty Hunter, certainly the beneficiary of that, now has that higher nth growth. He can spam out his spells. Of course, Shuriken Track got buffed in the last patch, got buffed in the last 2 patches, actually, and is now a very, very powerful nuke at low levels. And again, the Phoenix comes out here for Summer's Rift, and I imagine this will probably be Nikwa's hero. Apart from the Clockwork, before he left Alliance, the Phoenix was the hero that Nikwa was playing most.
Yeah, I believe Brax was switched back to the mid-roll. I'm not sure where Demon's going. I think he might be playing 1 now, with Tralf and Whitebeard both playing support, and then Nikwa to the offlane. That sounds like the most natural change up for them. But
yeah, Nikwa, Demon, it was actually a really funny thing. Demon actually showed up in Twitch chat last night in Canada Cup and ended up standing in for Boreal, and he played a Carry Weaver. So one does wonder whether or not he was practicing that role in preparation for this series. But NAR, a very solid draft of their own, and again, just as we were saying about Bounty Hunter, Shadow Demon as well has really become first phase material. Again, with the emphasis that 6.84 is placing on the early game, the importance of these early lane skirmishes. Even though we saw in 6.84C a few days ago, the benefits to these early game skirmishes were cut back a little bit. I still expect to see that faster tempo, and Shadow Demon just a hero that fits in those kinds of engagements so well.
Yeah, he was a hero that we rarely saw in 6.83. Occasionally would be picked up very, very late in the patch, I think, was when he started to see a lot more light. Shadow Demon Lina with VG starting to play that very late on, but he's one of those heroes that can be played in multiple ways. He's a very aggressive hero early on with disruption into Soul Catcher, and I think it's Soul Catcher that really makes the difference here. When you've got a couple of nukes, you just obliterate one hero. That gives you the numbers advantage, and all of a sudden you're rolling through team fights.
Oh boy, and now this is a little bit of a surprise because Ember Spirit is a hero that just It felt like he got nerfed one too many times, and he's never really made a comeback since then. And I mean, he's been pretty god awful in this patch. I mean, I want to say, I don't have the stats up right in front of me. I'm looking at just some tournament stats right now, but he's like a 30% win rate so far in 6.84.
I remember 2.5 weeks ago or something, a stat came up on Reddit where it said he was 1-13. So
yeah, he lost 13 straight pro matches. Yeah, I mean, just brutal. And really, the hero just
reserve time.
His spells are very expensive. He has very poor stat growth, and so he's almost forced to get that stat item, get that drum up before he even thinks about going for a major item. And I mean, in this day and age, unless you're fighting early on with this hero, you're not going to be able to farm 2 mid items and then go for a Battle Fury in this meta. You're going to have to be able to fight with that Drum of Endurance. And in most of the games that I've seen, Ember Spirit's, the mana cost on his spells, it's just too much for this hero to be able to be constantly fighting, as we've seen in so many of these games.
Yeah, I think it was quite some time ago when I was casting with you before, but Ember Spirit is one of these really unusual mid-roll heroes that has, multiple power spikes throughout the game. Once he hits level, 7, 8, 9, he's got a massive amount of magical burst. He's got lockdown with his Searing Chains, and then he's got 2 ways of dodging out spells. So he can survive through the sort of onslaught if he does get caught out. But I agree. He kind of has to abuse TPing to base and remnanting back to lane to try and keep that going, to fill his bottle back up. But
and the single biggest thing is the Yule's Purge of Flame Guard. Like, that crushes that hero. I mean, Yule's is a little bit less prevalent now, and so you're starting to see a little mini comeback, but still, I mean, any one of these heroes, I mean, Shadow Fiend, even by himself, is a hero that's generally going to build a Yule's, and for that, I think the Ember Spirit is a very dicey pickup, although certainly still capable of making a lot of plays. You're going to see the Bristleback coming out last. This is a hero that that got a nerf in 6.84C recently. His base attack time was increased by 1/10 of a second. I really was surprised by that because he played a very prominent role in the Summit 3, but his stats outside of that have not been that good. He's actually only got a 42% win rate so far this patch in very high ranked pub play. So I was pretty surprised by that nerf. I think you're going to see from MSS, you're going to see North American Rejects run MSS on the Darkseer. So you're going to see Bristle probably in that mid or safe running role, where I feel he does a lot better. But either way, this is a hero that's very reliant on early farm. If he has a poor laning phase, he has a really hard time getting back into the game.
Yeah. 1 second, as I have to change something on XSplit, which I forgot to do, and now we are good. Excellent. Right. So, Summer's Rift up against NAR here. Last game of the playoffs for MLG Pro League Season 2. Road to X Games, and I mean, that's going to be amazing. The sort of BMX and everything all around you in this little bubble where they've got Call of Duty and Dota going on at the same time. And what I was reading about, they've released a bunch of articles. They're both going to be sort of layered in the arena. Oh yeah, Cart, hello. How you doing, man? You okay, Cart? We went full meme on him earlier in Twitter. There's a few funny pictures out there. But yeah, X Games, they've got quite a cool setup where there's, I can't remember what they call it, like binaural, where audio, where there's the speakers pumping out both games and both commentators at the same time. But because of the way it's laid out, only certain parts of the audience will hear it.
Well, I mean, it is going to be unbelievably fun. And I mean, MLG, I can't say enough good things about them. They just put on a great event in Columbus, made all of us feel extremely welcome, extremely comfortable. I really can't wait for Austin. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I really, people are excited about TI, and there's certainly no shortage of great Dota events going on right now. But, I personally am excited to see our players on ESPN, on stage, getting medals alongside some of these other competitors in the X Games. I think that's going to be one of my favorite moments of that competition, is just seeing the gold medals go on whichever team comes out on top, and we've got some great teams already going.
Nice. I've just noticed Undying wasn't touched.
Yeah, Undying, it's interesting. It's a hero that, for as dominant as it's been and as high impact as it's been in some games, he's getting through some drafts. And there are already a lot of teams, even before the Tombstone nerf, I think there were already a lot of teams that were saying, maybe this here isn't quite the overpowered, crazy troll sniper clone that everybody thought he was going to be. That role certainly falls to Gyro, even after, in my opinion, the Rocket Barrage nerf. But yeah, Undying is getting through more and more drafts these days. Not a total surprise. Bounty is really the hero that's on the rise right now.
Yeah. And I guess with the first big Gyro that we did see here, you know, it's kind of scary to pick an Undying into that. With the Tombstone nerf, you can't just sit Gyro there with Flat Cannon, right-click away, and you win the team fights.
Yeah, Gyro is really a hero that, like I say, even with that Rocket Barrage damage nerf, if you look at the rescaled damage, really that only affects mostly the first couple of levels, a Rocket Barrage, and Gyro's a mid-game powerhouse anyway. Little action here at the top rune.
The battle begins.
Right clicks coming out of Demon, he just keeps on going. Bounty doesn't actually go to him, so Bleak wasting a lot of time, a lot of HP here. Does he die? He's burning down from that dive.
He's dead.
Bleak is dead. The Bristleback wanted the rune, but gives up his life. And meanwhile, down at the mid-tier 1, he will go down to the tower. That little Witch Doctor running all the way, so 2 heroes giving up their lives there. Who got the second bounty? We saw Ember and Bounty Hunter both getting the runes.
Yeah, and very nice there, not only to secure both runes for the team, but Summer's Rift get the kill, and Witch Doctor suicides to the tower, ensuring that none of them get the last hit bounty. And by the way, Witch Doctor has actually been a demon hero, so I'm a little bit surprised to see Whitebeard back on that hero. Demon's been 7-1 with Witch Doctor as a member of Rift, but reflecting the role swap that I think you're seeing as a result of some of the recent changes.
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of Whitebeard playing the Winter Wyvern. I've been kind of surprised to see him do so well. It's not been a hero that comes to mind when you say, you know, a great 5-role support. We have watched Virtus Pro do it a couple of times.
Yes, exactly.
It's a very hit and miss hero.
No, I mean, it's as is natural in the early day. As you're seeing Neeko take a little bit of harass up here with Demon coming back to the top lane, maybe making a move here on crit.
Is Neeko level 2? Yeah, they've got Fire Spirits to throw down onto crit. He disrupts up the bounty. That just allows Neeko to dive forward and keep piling on the damage. Sure, he's getting stat Quill Sprays up on him. Who's going to die first? Neeko? One more right click, one more Quill Spray.
Oh, no, not quite.
Nice. Salves himself up, and Demon doesn't get the hit in there onto Shadow Demon.
Yeah, Neeko was only level 2. I thought he might have had one more level in him, but that saves him with only the level 1 Fire Spirits. But Demon just going to be a nuisance in this lane.
And then you take a look at mid. Shadow Fiend, once he hits level 3, 4, 5, he starts getting the upper hand here against Brax, potentially. Just the fact that he clears out the wave, burns through that Flame Guard with his razors. But with an Ember, there's always that the thought in the back of your mind. If I leave my creep wave, if I get caught out on top of a ramp, he can Searing Chains, I only get the short range raise down onto him, and he's got so much burst damage as well as that damage over time with Flame Guard that I could potentially die early on here.
Yeah, but again, though, the big question that in my mind is that I think that this Brax's Ember Spirit is going to be all but forced into the Flame Guard build, going mid against a Shadow Fiend. And the question in my mind going forward is going to be what happens when Ush gets that early Yules that we've seen on a Shadow Fiend so often. I think he's going to be able to really hurt the Ember Spirit in that matchup. Maybe not kill him, but keep him on a lane. You know, just to finish the point that we're making about Winter Wyvern, I think that's one of the heroes, as you've seen a lot in the early days of the metagame, it's one of the heroes that there's a lot of disagreement between teams on. You see teams in the early days of a patch value different heroes very, very differently, and Winter Wyvern an extreme example of that, getting through a lot of drafts untouched, but also clearly very highly valued by some teams.
Oh, yeah, I like what Demon's raise. That's a nice Fisher as well. One more, but Archie throws out the long range and not the medium.
He did get killed. That was the range creep.
With a sentry? Oh, man.
Oh, my god. Was that? I think it was a creep that got him. Oh, my goodness. That... boy, little bad luck there for Jimmy, but little classic Jimmy plays, and Neeko might be going down here in the top lane now. He's going to get away just fine.
I flicked my camera down to bot because I saw the Darkseer getting pummeled by the Gyrocopter. I didn't think it was even possible the bounty dies there. Nice little sentry placement, though.
Yeah, it was a good sentry placement and a very timely Fisher here from Fogged. I really feel like Fogged is very underrated in terms of his early game rotations. He uses TP rotations really, really well, especially on his Skyreth Mage.
Well, right now, Brax, 10 seconds until Flame Guard's back up, and like you said, Fog waiting in the wings, ready to guard that rune, which Demon is starting to move towards. They've spotted out as Jacob. They see Crit as well. Loses a lot of HP, and he's slowed down now. But can the Ember? Nope, he cannot get in range to do any damage. Demon is still chasing this, though. He knows Crit is now out of spells, out of mana. but he doesn't have the ability to chase him down. Even with his boots and
they
double venom, but the fine fogged, there's no matter for a Fissure. With the fire spirits, they'll find a nice little kill.
Yeah, but Ush may get fed here off Aniqua. Yep. Man, and that really hurts too, feeding that. I mean, it's a nice thought, and I know this patch has been about early aggression. Interestingly enough, Summer's Rift, NAR rather, have been a little bit of an exception to some of the 6.84 aggression.
Oh man, now Ush taking a lot of damage. He just turns and fights. Brax searing chains down onto him, but Demon can't do too much to stop this. Now, one thing is, Demon spotted out the big stack over in the dire jungle. What can they do to contest it, though? Like,
I think this Shadow Fiend's going to be a problem. I mean, you can already see he's tanking up pretty quickly. I mean, Shadow Fiend's got pretty decent strength growth at a flat 2.0 per level, and I mean, your Ember already a level behind off of that kill in the dire jungle, and you just saw. I mean, with a level 2 bounty hunter, they can't really threaten him mid. And this is the downside of a bounty hunter. The games that he's excelled, he's really done well, but he's been a feast or famine hero. He's had just a bunch of games with double-digit deaths in this patch. He actually averages.
Which Doctor's going to go down here? MSS with that level 2 Ion Shell. Good rotation from Crit, just walking himself down, finding a quick and easy kill.
I do not like how this game. I mean, the lead is not that big right now, but I do not like how this game is going for Summer's Rift. I think that they're going to have to do something here to change the flow of the game.
But how aggressive can they be? Their only real sort of go and do stuff hero is Bounty Hunter, right? He moves around, he tries to make things happen, but when you actually look at the lanes he can go to, top is a bristleback. He can't actually go and kill there. Shadow Fiend, you know, you've mentioned, he's already stacked with Strength Treads. It's very difficult to take him down, and bot lane's a Darkseer. Shadow Demon with 1 TP can save him.
Yeah, I really do think, though, that you've got to abuse the mid-game damage output of the Gyrocopter. He's going max barrage, and I really do feel like I know that this is not necessarily the traditional mentality, but I think you got to look to get some kills here. Bleak being harassed really hard up here in the top lane, and oh gosh, the Nova going to be used.
Wow. Well, I guess I've been proven wrong. I thought the Bristleback would be okay up there, but with Supernova, the Fire Spirits, they've got enough damage over time, and level, 1-1-1 actually across the board for Demon there. Bot lane, Invis, MSS, but they're actually TPing Shadow Demon again. Looking for that Witch Doctor that they see. They know where he's standing, they're pinging him out, so they've obviously spotted him out with that Invis.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they really have to respect the damage potential of this Gyrocopter, though, even with just the 3 levels in Rocket Barrage and the Call Down. Again, the way that ability gets nerfed, it's really the damage nerf at level 3 now is trivial.
Oh no!
Oh, what? Hello,
Whitebeard, no.
Meeting in the mines in the jungle, they're going to get called down here.
They're out. MSS though still caught. Actually, Crit. Did he cancel his TP?
Yeah, you can't go on this hero 2v2 at level 6 and 7. Gyrocopter, the damage output is just way too much.
Did Crit cancel his TP, or was that just a really quick cast gap from Whitebeard?
I think it was just a really quick cast gap. I couldn't say for sure. I've seen some weird canceled TPs. I've seen earlier I believe it was in Dream League, there was at least one time where somebody forgot that Omni Slash doesn't mini stun anymore and canceled their own TP. It was pretty funny.
Well, so far, farming-wise, you know, Arsh on the Shadow Fiend, 1,200 gold up in the bank, Treads, Bottle, Magic Wand, and Wraithband. Has he... Okay, yeah, he's just cleared out that big stack that was made up for him, so that's where that little boost of last hits comes from. He was even with the Gyrocopter. I've got to say, even with Brax having an unfavorable matchup here, he's doing very well getting last hits.
Bountiful.
Yeah, but...
Impact. What impact does he make? Where does he look to go?
Right. That's gonna be my question, is that how much longer is it gonna be before he's able to have an impact with this farm that he's being given? You know, Demon looking for a little bit of a courier snipe here. Doesn't look like he's gonna get it, just a little bit behind there. And it's good awareness though, actually, knowing that the Shadow Fiend is going to be looking to clear those stacks and probably using the courier as he progresses toward his next major item, which is going to be a mech.
Yeah, so pick up the...
So the early Yules isn't going to happen. I can't argue with this choice necessarily in this kind of a team fight focused meta, but I still like the Yules as a counter to the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, the weird thing is, with Yules against Ember, you mentioned the Flame God is purged completely, but it's also a setup for him to just say, okay, if he has a defensive Remnant, he can insta-Remnant out of it. So it's not like that kills straight away. Archer's going to get caught here. Maledict doesn't land, but it doesn't matter. They've got enough damage. He nearly takes out Demon with one raise in that Requiem, but he survives with his stick charges, and he's just fine. But yeah, with the Yule Scepter, you can't get that Requiem insta-kill. You can still Remnant back.
Right.
So it's not the great setup that it is on the other heroes.
No, it depends on how you're thinking about it, because yeah, while you're right that you're not getting those kinds of pickoffs that Yule Shadow Fiend likes to get in pub games, you also are all but taking the Ember Spirit out of a fight, because without Flame Guard, he can't stand against the lineup that you have right now. And really, that was, by the way, a very good gank timing on the Shadow Fiend, as Bleak may be in a little bit of trouble up here. What level's that Maledict?
He's stacking up the
just level 1
Maledict.
Maledict.
Is Maledict and Fire Spirit's going to take him out? He gets back to the fountain. He does take over.
Oh no, it was just enough.
Oh man, what level Maledict's that actually come back to fog up at top? He's caught as well, looking to save his teammate with a Fissure, but the chasing potential here from Summer's Rift. Remnants, dives, they've got so much here, and you look at Demon, he's level 5, getting up into level 6. How's Gyro doing? Demon on Gyro, treads and drums. So he's tanking up a hell of a lot. And I've got to say, this build so far, you know, without a Ring of Aquila, which kind of indicates you push your lane, you go and farm the jungle. He doesn't have a Quelling Blade, which we've seen from a couple of Gyros either, to go and farm, especially like only Radiant side, where you farm the jungle. Oh, he's caught.
He's so dead.
Soul Catcher double raise. Goodbye, Demon. The cooldown will land, and Nico's coming in. Supernova's available, but he's getting stunned up. He's chained, and he will get it off eventually. With the Remnants in onto 3, onto 4. The Supernova goes down, but Brax is in here doing a hell of a lot of damage, chasing him down. One Remnant remaining, but 2 Remnants actually. Can he chase? Can he find this kill? His Flame Guard is going to be down in a couple of seconds, and now he's left himself with no escape. He's got no way to get out. Crit does.
Oh, but in comes Demon.
But that's a good Fissure from Fog. Trapping them in, locking them down with that Enchant Totem. There's no sentry to spot out Demon, who will make his way out, but man, that fight back and forth.
Yeah, a little bit surprised to see Brax commit quite that heavily. I thought he could have taken the early gains and kind of backed off, but chooses to chase and really pays the price.
Yeah, he could have gone. They could have had what, a 3-for-1 exchange there, but instead giving away the Ember's life. Did he buy? He bought the Rub of the Magi, so he spent quite a lot of his gold, or quite a lot of the unreliable gold he had. MSS.
Little that also means that both of their big cores go down. That's really that really hurts in terms of the progression, especially because it looks like both of these big cores are going to be forced into buying drums, which again, you know, double drums is not the worst thing in the world. It's a decent stat item despite all the nerfs, but again, it means you're talking about this patch is all about timing in terms of when are your cores going to come online. Wow. Whitebeard just trying to man up there, committing the Death Ward to Ush in the mid lane, but even with just the Buckler already too tanky and the mecha is flying out.
Can Brax find this? Bleak is running with his Bristleback. The Flame Guard is slowly ticking him over, but Quill Sprays is stacking up. One more Searing Chains. It looks like Brax should be okay just to take this kill, but he's got no TP. It's on cooldown. He's got a Remnant up in 3 seconds time, but he's going to get stunned. He's going to get caught with a Soul Catcher. The Remnant is so incredibly slow. He jumps over, somehow getting over that Fissure, but a nice timed raise, well placed by Ush, finds the kill.
Yeah. And as you say, you know, Brock's actually doing better in this game than I thought he would, given the draft. He has represented himself quite well, but I still, again, I don't want to repeat myself here, but I still feel like Ush is going to get big on this Shadow Fiend. I mean, Ush is averaging almost 650 GPM so far in this patch. He's tops among all pro players. I mean, it's only 12 games, so obviously you take that with a massive grain of salt, but he's going to get big, and I'm not sure that Summer's Rift have what they need to deal with him.
Well, they've done a great job shutting down the Bristleback. So with the mech build from Ush, you kind of expect them to group up as 5 and, you know, push into towers, or at the very least, go with the Earthshaker and Shadow Demon to go and kill stuff. But Bristleback's going to take quite some time to actually get himself rolling, while over on the Radiant, they're actually going to dive in onto Fogged here. He's got a Fissure available, but there's going to be no way to survive through this. He Fissures just as his dying move.
And Trout's going to go down here mid lane, and this is really, really detrimental. Again, you can't be using, especially up against a flash farming Shadow Fiend like this. You can't be losing your top 2 cores. And again, that's just a very simple case. This is where I think you see This is where I think you see the effects of a recent roster change, where you just get people a little bit too far forward. Bleak's going to go down probably again here.
If the Mauser hit, that would have been such a simple kill, but now Demon has to keep on chasing with another hit.
Yeah, that's track gold.
That's nice.
Yeah, a little bit of a fortuitous cast bounce there, as I think Bleak might have been able to live there had the cast not bounced onto him one last time.
Take a look at Ush. Wait. He's building into a BKB straight up.
Yeah.
Wait,
he's going right for it, man. And this courier, by the way,
Demon on the run. They know he's there.
With the haste rune too, but no, not quite. You know, S4 rune got nerfed, so sorry, Demon. No courier kill for you, buddy.
Well, Summer's Rift, they have built themselves for sort of a mid-game fight-oriented lineup here. BKB is being built up by Trouf on this Gyrocopter as well. Demon, what kind of itemization do you expect from the Bounty Hunter? We've seen a lot of different routes. We've seen Dagons, we've seen Urns. What do you want to see from Demon here?
If you're asking me, it's going to be Solar Crest every time.
Okay.
I absolutely love that item on Bounty. I actually think that item itself is a pretty big buff to the hero. I mean, that item gives you so much utility in terms of locking down the damage output from a Shadow Fiend like in this game. It lets you do Roche really quickly, lets you buff up your Gyrocopter so he can get in the middle of a fight. I mean, I love that item. I mean, even just that's the other thing is that the buildup is so good. I mean, even with just the medallions from the Shadow Fiend, look at how fast this Roche is going down.
Yeah, I was having a chat with a couple of people about this before, talking about some of the new items, how Greaves, it's a good item for mid-game, but I don't feel like you should be skipping Link Dagger for it.
Right.
We've seen from a couple like Tidehunters, Vacuum Misses down here in bot lane. But I agree, Solar Crest has to be one of the best items. There's like no reason to buy a Halberd anymore.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just it's a utility item that I think gives you more than Halberd gives you at like 3/4 of the cost. And I mean, the thing about Greaves, right, is that Greaves is obviously, it's intended to be a support item, and the recipe is just so damn expensive.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you're gonna see Greaves built more often just by virtue of mech getting nerfed, but still, I don't necessarily consider Greaves to be this just huge value item like Solar Crest.
I like it on Undying and Tidehunter, so they can. It's a nice build up.
Yes.
I don't like the recipe being 1650, but Arcane's mech, Blink, things like that for Tide, or Arcane's mech into a cloak or a glimmer cape or something for Undying.
Yeah, I'm still one of those curmudgeons that you give me. Generally, with a Tidehunter, I'll still almost always like to see that refresher build up, but.
Okay.
I know I've seen Greaves do really, really well in a couple of different games on Tide, so I'm definitely not going to flame that build. I love my double Ravages.
You gotta love them. So far, 2,000 net worth lead for some of the
this is BKB, by the way, already for us. Here
boy.
at 17 minutes, mech BKB Shadow Fiend.
So, kill potential on the SF once he's got BKB. Janada crit for right click from Gyro. So much of their magical damage output now is just completely negated by that pickup.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily know. This could actually be a really tough fight here.
Right into Wash. Shadow Fiend Brax is getting ripped a new one. Jumps back to his Remnant and Demon. Do they have Dust or Sentries or
this is actually really smart by Summer's Rift to immediately see the BKB on Ush. Ush avoids sort of panicking and popping it right away when he runs into the Ember Spirit. Summer's Rift saw the BKB on him right away, said, holy crap, guys, that's a BKB with a mech at 17 minutes. We're not going to be able to take this fight. We're getting out. Trouf goes ahead and resets, goes back to the bottom lane, takes that farm.
Well, Trouf on the Gyrocopter going into Sanj first, so Sanj and Yasha most likely his next big item in this. You mentioned how Gyro is becoming the new sort of troll or sniper. His item build-up has kind of reminded me of Sniper. You go for lots of stat items, but S and Y has been such a great thing on him. When at D2CL, when we saw Silent pick this up, it was obviously one of their first pick heroes, and he's loved this hero since, years
I mean,
ago.
Silent Gyro, just on another level as far as everybody, but this hero in general, he's a very strong late-game carry, obviously, but his mid-game damage output is just gross. I'm gonna kind of trail off for a second here because I think we might see a fight mid, but I actually like, you're gonna call me nuts, I actually really like Glimmer Cape on Gyro, because I really like what you do is you build a Sanj and Yasha, you build a Glimmer Cape, and then you disassemble both for Silver Edge and Manta.
Okay.
It lets you put off your to me, like, Glimmer Cape is a mini BKB, and it lets you put off your BKB to really maximize the effectiveness of that 10-second charge. But anyway, I'm a noob.
I don't think you're nuts. That sounds interesting. Like, Glimmer Cape for me has always been one of those, like, support-ish items, or...
It is, and it should be, and it's a really powerful support item, but, like, on natural BKB agi carries, I think it's actually a way, it's kind of a little cheaty way to put off your BKB.
Yeah, like that's the kind of build-up that I've been expecting from Slarks when we've seen them, you know, go for a cloak into your Shadowblade, or go into Glimmer Cape and then go to Shadowblade Silver Edge, bot lane Demon, chasing MSS. The cast will be thrown, but he's already behind that tier 1 tower, so no real chase there. Nikwa, the Phoenix, we haven't seen too much from him over the past couple of minutes. He's built himself up a Midas, so nice item progression from him. What do you feel about Midas in this patch, though? Because the games have been really short, and it takes a while for you to actually make use of that item outside of the experience and levels you get.
I mean, yeah, but the latter is the key. I think that Midas has kind of been, for most heroes, all but dead for a while. I mean, in the last patch, you obviously saw Mask of Madness become kind of the new Midas, and to some extent, Yules for Shadow Fiend. But on heroes like AA or Phoenix that just benefit so much from that level 11 and can really stagnate easily without it, I think it's defensible.
Sure. Ush. 2,000.
I mean, look at that. Ush just walks up and they're like, no, we don't want any of that. Ush just like, he doesn't even throw a right click at Nikwa. Ush just walks into the lane and they're all like,
yeah, Swagger's past and like, right, back to the tier 1 tower as we go, boys, and not touching that.
Swagger Fiend.
Yeah, they've also taken Roshan, so Shadow Fiend.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Summer's Rift is actually, early on in the laning phase, I was a little bit worried. I thought that they might kind of get snowballed out of this game, but they're kind of where they need to be. I mean, you see after that ridiculous Shadow Fiend, you were talking about Bristle having a hard time. All of Summer's Rift's cores are ahead of the Bristleback and the Darkseer.
Yeah, the Bristleback did clear out a bunch of stacks on man up at top lane. Next time for Fog, got to Nikwa. He's going to get the Supernova off if he wants to, but dive forward first. Doesn't need to throw out that ulti just yet, as he'll find 2 kills out of nowhere, it seemed.
Yeah, I really like how Brax has played this here in the last 10 minutes or so of this match.
That's been great. And he's nearly got Battle Fury completed. They don't catch the Shadow Fiend, though, who heads back into the jungle. Is that, no, Demon is not there. He's down at bot lane with Trout on that Gyrocopter. But it's actually Whitebeard warding up, watching for that transition through the jungle. Just making sure he knows exactly what's going on.
And I forget whether I finished the stat earlier. I started to say it, but NAR have been a team that have been largely immune to this sort of new death ball meta. I believe 7 out of their last 8 games have been 40 minutes or longer. So they're not necessarily a team that's going to look to get aggressive early, despite Shadow Fiend going into a build that I thought would have been really good at an early death ball. Thus far, it's been Summer's Rift forcing the action on their side of the map.
Well, Bristleback has been catching up pretty nicely, stacking up Ancients for him and clearing them out. Sanjin Yasha is nearly done, so going from that casual cloak he had, he's died once since then. No, he went 0-4 very early on, but they've kind of stemmed the flow, they've stopped the bleeding, and they've held their own for now. Nikwa, 2,800 gold for him. Shiva's Guard probably on the cards. I don't see him going into anything too out of the ordinary here as the Phoenix. He's going to Midas through. Gets the small creep, but not the large one, though, as he tries to clear that camp from the low ground. But there's a Glimmer Cape over on the Witch Doctor, actually, who's about to hit level 11. His level 2 ultimate, you know, does a ton of damage. If they can get that down onto someone that's maledicted up, locked in place by Searing Chains, you know, they could do pretty well. And actually, Battle Fury's done now for Brax. So 23 minutes into the game as a mid-Ember. That's an amazing time.
Yeah, Brax is, like I said, I think if Summer's Rift end up winning this match, I think Brax sort of coming back into this and really accelerating his farm to, you know, almost keep pace with Ush's Shadow Fiend is going to have a lot to do with it. I really feel like the momentum here has swung in Summer's Rift's favor. You know, like you said, that Glimmer Cape allowing the soon-to-be level 11 Witch Doctor to possibly get off that full duration Death Ward, that really is an answer to that big mech presence of the Shadow Fiend, BKB presence of the Shadow Fiend in the team fight, because that damage, you know, doesn't care about BKB.
I've just noticed Demon has drums as well. So Summer's Rift actually going for the triple drum strat here. They're just padding out their stats, getting themselves nice and beefy without, you know, expending too much gold. It's a really nice build-up, but I guess the fact is here, they haven't grouped up as 5. We've kind of expected the Gyrocopter to move in with Cooldown and Supernova to have a massive team fight potential. But they've been moving around in packs of 2, 3. Brax has been going alone. Gyro has been farming away and using drums defensively to run away, I think, is the big thing.
Well, the other thing about drums is that you just need HP in this game, because you got the raises from Shadow Fiend, you've got Earthshaker spell combo, you're going to be eating Quill Sprays and Shadow Poisons all over the place, the Darkseer's magic combo. You need at least 1k HP in this game, or any kind of a positioning in these team fights, and you're dead instantly. Now, I actually was gonna start talking about a possible pipe pickup for Rift, but it's actually Narvi that are NAR V2 that show the pipe first on the Darkseer, which makes sense because Shadow Fiend went into the early mech himself.
Yeah, so they've got their 2 big sort of team fight items. Bleak at mid lane gets caught by the Searing Chains, and Brax just keeps on fighting. Actually, Bleak turns to whack him a couple of times, but now on the run, bottling up, and should be okay. Down at bot lane, though. Vacuum, the cooldown demon, gonna get taken out. One more right click, anything! The Echo Slam finally does it as the Supernova comes down from the Phoenix, but folks getting chased by that Gyrocopter. One more right click will bring him to his doom. As the dive forward, the Remnant as well. Brax, Summer's Rift cleaning up. Sure, at 2 supports, but only losing your Bounty Hunter. How many tracks were there? Did they get both of those as track kills?
There was at least one. I think that was both the supports went down to track kills, and again, NAR just uninterested in fighting, and you got to look at this. Okay, so SF is going to go for his Scotty probably. I mean, is it really worth giving up this much material on your side of the map? Okay, he's got his Scotty up. I really feel like they have to answer this somehow. They've given up a lot to get Ush as farmed as he is. I mean, he really needs to validate the amount of resources that they've put into him here in the game.
Where is the SF? Walking in now. I was about to ask, has he ever TP'd in? Because we've seen his little clashes near towers. I don't think he's ever had a TP. Fog.
This is a big kill if they can get it.
Ralph is being chased down here. Misses the enchant totem, but he's having that nasal suit stacked up, slowed down, surge forward. But here's a cask and a maledict onto Fog. Death Ward is available. They throw it down from the trees. Try and focus down the Earthshaker, but Ralph's already dead. The Gyro's down, but the Death Ward captures that damn Darkseer at the very end. Fog stick charges and is just fine.
Very close.
Oh, look at that. Roshan's alive.
Oh boy.
Double damage Shadow Fiend. What are you going to do, Summer's Rift? How do you get in here to defend this?
You really... I think it would probably be a mistake for them to go into this.
Yeah, and you've got Brax farming up a top lane, another 2,800 gold in the bank, but second Roshan.
Yeah, that's like a 30-second Roshan. You especially with 2 heroes down, one of them being Gyrocopter, there's no way you're going to stop that. And Shadow Fiend spent most of his time on the backside of that team fight earlier, tracked and sort of chasing around the Bounty Hunter, but NAR still have the damage output to win that fight.
Holy shit, no!
Oh, yes.
Witch Doctor, no.
Yeah, you casually walking up to a DD Shadow Fiend that is, 50% more farm than the next hero in the game may not be the best idea.
You had a DD and a Scotty, and you walk up to him to just throw a peanut at him. It's like, take that, and oh crap, I'm dead.
Yeah, to borrow a line from a very old movie. That was your plan, Ray. Get her. Yeah, that's not going to work most of the time. Oh god. Yeah, 400 damage auto attacks.
Well, Bristleback's going to be the trade-off here. Brax chasing him down. Leak trying to juke through with a purge. They'll hold him in place for a while, but shuriken out. Brax now turns to fight the 2 supports. Remnant from the fissure, but Demon's caught. And Chant Totem will stun him up a secondary time, but they've got the damage. Just wondering if they had the vision. Huh? With the Scotty, Brax,
BKB for this.
What's your plan? TP, vacuum, caught him now, running away through the wall, but Iron Shell will catch him. Nice attempt there with the sleight of fist, just to try and dodge through the damage. But they've lost 2 of their big team fight heroes so far, the Bounty Hunter and the Ember Spirit. And now, with NAR rampaging down this top lane, what have they got to stop them?
Yeah, just good sense of timing here by NAR. I was getting a little bit over anxious. I was getting a little bit worried, but this was definitely the plan all along. Let's get Ush that 3rd big item, get him that Scotty up, and just go and roll face. And that's exactly what they've done in these last couple of engagements.
Because who is there to contend? You look at the net worth of the Gyro and Ember Spirit. That tells you one story. They're behind. But also in their actual itemization and item progression, the Battle Fury is the one big item Ember has. He's got phase and drums. You mentioned this before. He needs to go those items to survive. But what impact does it give him? Compared to Mech, BKB, and Skadi? Very little. Gyrocopter, Sanjin, Yasha, BKB, and drums allow him to survive, but what kind of actual damage output do you get in these team fights?
Good lord, and this is going to be a butterfly in another 1,500 or so gold, and I don't know that there's an answer for that. I really don't, especially, I mean, obviously 1,200 gold or so, or 1,300 gold for a Shadow Demon is a long way, but if Crit manages to get that Solar Crest up and just throw that Solar Crest buff onto Ush going into these fights, I just think that there's no way that Summer's Rift can bring him down once, much less twice with an Aegis.
And it's been quite interesting to see. Fog, I noticed a while ago, went for this Glimmer Cape over Blink, or before Blink anyway. So he's able to actually use that. It's kind of like the new Force Staff, you know, not as utility based, but
that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's when your carry's BKB charge runs out. You know, it used to be okay when your carry's BKB charges out, let's look to Force Staff to get him out of trouble, to get him to re-engage. But it's when your carry's BKB runs out, you're gonna throw Glimmer Cape on him and let him stand in the middle of the fight for another 5 seconds. I mean, it's just an amazing item.
The actual usages here are great. NAR, the big thing we haven't talked about is their team fight synergy. You know, Fissure, Echo Slam, Vacuum into Requiem. If you do manage to actually get the Glimmer Cape to initiate the fight, get in there, and then Requiem into Vacuum is a massive deal against 4 heroes that don't have BKBs.
Yeah, that's perfectly said, and I mean, it comes down to the fact that Ush is just going to be standing in the middle of these engagements, and you've got to have some kind of answer. And certainly Brax's Ember Spirit with the crit now completed after the Battle Fury, I mean, he's going to be dishing out a lot of damage, but I just don't know that it's going to be enough. I thought that the point you made a minute ago about them Summer's Rift being forced to go for these kind of mid-game stat items just for survival purposes was a really good one. I mean, they don't necessarily have a lot of damage right now. You're going to see the Bounty Hunters being forced to go into BKB.
Yeah, exactly. And Fog, Checker, under a sentry, they found Demon, MSS, Vacuum back, Echo Slam even thrown out there, but for a kill on that pesky little Bounty Hunter. Well worth it, because early on in the game, Bounty was their sort of conduit for actually fighting. He would move from lane to lane, find pickoffs, track people up, and set the... Like, he's not the conventional setup hero, but that's what his actual goal is this game. Even now, in the sort of... I want to call it mid-game because that's what I'm used to, you know, 25, 30 minutes or so, but this patch has kind of been late game. He's struggled to find these openings. Brax actually middle, getting demolished by the SF. Soul Catcher and right clicks. Nearly enough to take him out.
Yeah, I mean, they're really... Rift is going to have a hard time keeping NAR off of their side of the map here. I mean, I really liked the fact that they aggressively tried to get gains on the Dire side before this SF was fully online, but now that he is, yeah, I just don't know that their cores, despite Brax having done a very, very good job in this game, I don't know that it's quite enough. I mean, he's going to have that Daedalus soon, but yeah.
You're going to have to BKB TP or something. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have a TP.
No, that's... Yeah, they've gotten enough kills on... I mean, you made a good point about Brax being able to stay alive here recently, but you know, they've been able to get enough kills on that gyrocopter. Ooh, nice initiation here.
Supernova. Going to land onto a couple. Good bounce there from the Shuriken as well. Crit will go down, the Remnant across. They find 2. Self-disruption, but MSS is caught. Over in the back, though, what's happening to Ush? He's going mano a mano with that gyro, with the... Who was that? With the Witch Doctor. And Ush is forced to BKB. Requiem, but they all back themselves up. He's dropped to 700 HP, and they might have enough to kill him here. As Demon goes invis, the Courier flying overhead.
I'm just going to go ahead and 1v5 your team now, guys. Holy crap. Okay. I mean, you and I saw the same fight there, right? Because that was Ush against 4 heroes, and he killed 2 of them. Goodness gracious. Well,
Summer's Rift went, like in that team fight, they went 0 for 4. The gyro getting picked off is, you know, an external factor. And then Shadow Fiend went 1 versus 4 and crushed a couple of them. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
That's amazing. And even so, though, even with the bounties comeback mechanisms being nerfed, that's still a lot of gold. They had a really beautiful setup in that fight. That was a brilliant supernova there from Nikwa on the high ground above the river. They had no chance of hitting the egg, and it really caught NAR off guard with the Shadow Fiend not quite prepared to be in the middle of the fight doing his damage. So that right there, about as good a fight as Summer's Rift could have asked for. And they actually do hold the gold lead despite the SF being this farmed. All 3 of their cores are farming fairly well. You saw the pretty early Shivas coming out from Nikwa a few minutes ago, and he's now well on his way to his next major item. What do you think that's going to be?
I have no idea. Like, I think a Hex would be optimal here. Just the fact that
the Hex is the obvious thing, right? Just to shut down that Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know why I called the courier was flying overhead just now. It was the Darkseer illusions went through the trees, and my brain kind of thought, hey, look, it's a courier. But no, they clipped through the trees, and it was them. They do a lot of damage as well. Darkseer with that level 2 wall. They've got quite a lot of damage output from, Bounty Hunter, Gyro, and Ember Spirit Illusions getting thrown into the mix there. But yeah, a Hex for the Phoenix wouldn't be out of place. 3,800, not too far away. But getting picked off here is not an option for him.
Yeah, I mean the issue, and you see this happen sometimes with a Shadow Fiend and the Anti-Mage. I mean, with these super greedy heroes, if you lose map control early, yeah, your Shadow Fiend flash farms, but it's really stunting the growth of their other cores. I mean, you see, the Bristle and the Darkseer just kind of languishing, never really able to find their farm, and that's because the Shadow Fiend is basically eating all the creeps on the dire side of the map. Where are Darkseer and Bristleback going to find their farm? I mean, you see, Bristleback's being forced to farm the Radiant Jungle, and he doesn't necessarily feel safe doing that.
Yeah, a big thing to take out of the most recent fight as well is Demon's track kills. Because we saw him very recently pick up a BKB, but the fact they got, 3-4 track kills there, he's now got a full BKB and Vlads.
Yeah, that's such a great utility item right now. Yeah, this is just sort of quintessential bounty hunter right here in this game. I mean, he had kind of a meh start, not bad, but not great. But he still brings so much utility to these fights.
Yeah, now that Vlad has that ranged.
Yes, the range lifesteal. Yeah, really nice, and a very good scaling item with the percentage-based bonuses.
So now with the help of the Dominator, Gyro doesn't need to finish up into Satanic just yet. Roshan will go down to the Dire, but MKB has got to be Ralph's next item on the Gyro.
Yes.
NAR, they're posturing, getting ready for a fight. MSS, or Crit, is stuck up on this top lane, dealing with Brax. He could die, 1v1 up here. It was MSS a while back, but headed down to the Roche Pit in case there was some contest. Crit.
But this is the power of those early objectives that Summer's Rift are going to take. They say, okay, you have this super farm Shadow Fiend, and yeah, we're going to have a hard time answering your death ball, but we were able to take enough space early on your side of the map that every time you group up and do Roche, every time you group up and try to push one of our lanes, we're going to be split pushing. We're going to force you to concede some material on your side. And that kind of a trade is really only available because A, you've got 3 pretty farm cores, but B, you were aggressive in taking objectives early on.
So every single creep wave pretty much is across on the Dire side of the map. Brax untouched, a top Daedalus done. Now,
I mean, they're going to lose this bottom tower. They're going to lose their 2-2 bottom tower to creeps. I mean, this is what Summer's Rift has been able to do to this game, and I just can't help but thinking, going back to what I was talking about earlier, I feel like NAR, I mean, they waited so long to push, and they did get some gains when they initially started, but wasn't enough to offset those early losses. Boy, Bleak better be careful here. He may just go down.
Well, the dive forward was aggressive. 3 of them get caught by the Fisher as Nikwa now. Sunray out. They're not going to catch Fog just yet. They're looking for Bleak. What's the cheese return? BKB now up as Tralf is caught in the line of fire. Time to back up. So BKB defensively there when they wanted to start that fight aggressively. And
yeah,
also,
Ush still has his
got MKB delivered.
Yeah, he's got MKB delivered. He's still got BKB and Aegis up. They do not need to back off here.
Witch Doctor doing the best he can, throwing out the cast, Fire Spirits, but there's the pipe as well. Echo Slam, Brax, Remnant back. The rest of your team now caught in a rough situation where they kind of have to fight. Call Down and Death Ward both drop. The full duration from that Death Ward is actually used as Nikwa finds a kill. Over in the back on the Earthshaker. Ush, now, Maledict's up. Are they going to try and go for this? The homing missile's going to get cancelled out by the BKB in the back, though. Searing Chains onto Bleak. One hit from Brax takes him out. Gets caught, though. MKB proc and one hit from Ush. The Shadow Fiend finds a nice, juicy kill. Now 1v1's that Supernova.
Oh, they got it.
MSS and Crit coming to help out, but they'll take down Nico. No problems whatsoever. Then you look at Demon. He's all the way at the top rune.
Yeah, good. Interesting decision making there by Ush, ultimately proven correct. It was a little bit with Aegis. I raised my eyebrows a little bit seeing him pop BKB there on about 40% HP, but it really ended up being the perfect timing. He just had free reign through that fight, even though he was below 50% HP when he finally popped that charge.
Yeah, I guess the thought is, why lose Aegis Immortal and BKB when I could use one and keep the other? Demon?
Exactly.
Are you sure about this? Apparently not, because
no,
the gem
no,
over
you're
on the
not.
Shadow Demon.
Yeah, that, wow.
Wow.
What else is there to say? It reminded me of the play earlier where Whitebeard just sort of casually walks up to Ush and Ush is like, yeah, I'm a DD Shadow Fiend. Okay, yes, I'm not channeling LD. Love you, LD.
Give me a hug.
Not my goal.
All I want is some friends. Well, Tralf has 5,300 gold saved up. Like I said, the item has to be MKB. Rapier, you just cannot go for. Maybe you wipe the rest of the team, but Shadow Fiend is still going to be there, killing the rest of your team with, another 3,400. Satanic, probably the item up for him. Oh, it's Phoenix going Refresher. Interesting.
Yeah. No, that's... Boy. I love Nico's aggression. I love the way that he plays this hero, but, I mean, you saw that egg go down so easily. Shadow Fiend could basically have 1v1 the egg, I think. And
yeah,
that's...
close.
That's scary.
Oh, wow. Tralf goes for the Satanic. So, still no major damage out with him for Gyrocopter. Are they relying entirely on Brax?
It's got to be. I mean, he's the Great Red Hope, man. He's the only hero that I feel like can combine the damage output and the control that they're going to need. Because Gyro, I just don't see. I mean, his BKB, it's still at 9 seconds. That's the one argument to me for Satanic, is that you've still got 9 seconds left on that BKB.
Oh, that's big as well. Earthshaker picks up his blink. They're looking to go in here a little bit onto Ush, throw down the missile. He's tracked up, just pushing him back a little bit, but they don't know Fog is waiting in the wings. He's prepped himself, hiding, and Chant Totem already used. If Summer's Rift do group themselves up here, they know Aegis is down, so Shadow Fiend only has 1 life here, but he's still got 3,000 health to get through. Sunray, fair enough, it's a decent item, but back in BKB
beautiful.
now from Tralf, the call down, catching 2, but the disruption out. They're doing a ton of damage here to MSS, but Ush turns and fights. He's got Requiem available. We'll probably look to use this in about 10 seconds time or so when they actually go full on in. Fog jump in, there's the Echo. Brax is caught, the only one that is. Fog dies to the Death Ward, so a little bit overzealous. Whoa.
Whoa, what? What? Wait. Was that it? Okay, I don't understand this game.
Maybe
he's getting pinked by his own teammate, so... Yeah, that was an interesting Requiem.
Demon.
You really do wonder.
He's missing every attack. Ush turns back to hit him. Lifts his little sword. Like, okay, I'm gonna get him. Nope.
Help out the noob stats guy. Like, what the hell was that last fight? What in the world? Ush just kind of backed up and was like, all right, I bet demons around here. Let's ulti. Was that the thought process?
I think the call was probably like, I don't have Aegis Immortal anymore, so let's play this safe, farm their jungle, and then push again. Just, you think about it, Summer's Rift used all of their ultis, right? They used cooldown, maybe,
yes.
Okay, not egg, but they used Death Ward, cooldown, let's back up. Fogged, jumped in onto one hero, and that wasn't the initiation they were looking for.
Right.
But I don't get the Requiem.
That was the weird thing to, yeah, the Requiem at the very end of the fight was the really strange thing to me. I mean, sometimes there is look, miscommunications happen in all games of Dota, and obviously Fog jumping in there without the rest of his team was a miscommunication. But the burnt Requiem, I mean, it's not that big a deal, right? It's a 100-second cooldown. It's already going to be off cooldown here in 12 seconds, but that was just so strange. And yeah, generally when your own teammate is chain pinging you after a team fight, that's not a good sign.
It must have been like, oh, Jimmy's here. Let's get Jimmy. Let's get him.
Yeah, it's one of those plays that it ends up on Reddit when you make it and ends up on Reddit when you fail it. So there you go.
Well, Roshan will find out when he respawns in about 40 seconds time. Bristleback, 3.2k gold with a plate mail, so AC, no item slot for the Shadow Fiend who's going into that Satanic. AC up against someone's Rift. They've got decent armor values. They've like 17 over on that gyrocopter. They really do need it. Did we see actually the medallion? No. The Solar Crest hasn't been upgraded for the Shadow Demon just yet.
Yeah, and I was going to note that you saw in that last fight, Trough was fairly far forward in the front lines, getting right-clicked by Ush, and it didn't hurt nearly as much as I was thinking it was. That armor for Gyro is pretty serious. I mean, you're going to need that Requiem spell damage to take him down.
Especially since he bought a Satanic and now was about 3,000 gold saved up again. I did, kind of question Satanic, but it allowed him, I guess the threat of that, allowed him to just sort of sit there in the fight and not get touched, because once you take him down low, you can't really burst him down, which, you look at NAR, they don't have that big, massive instant nuke onto one hero.
Well, but more, I just hate to keep going back to this, but more and more, the issue for me is I see the SF just flash farming, sucking up all these items. I mean, he's fully 6-slotted. This hero is just absolutely balling out of control, ready to go. But where's the rest of his team? I mean, Summoner's Rift are farming 3 cores. NAR is farming 1, and he's now maxed out. And now you see the Refresher Orb on Nikwa's Phoenix. I mean, NAR have put themselves in a position where they need to make something happen right now.
Well, they will with a smoke up here, walking through their own secret shop. But yeah, was it 8 minutes ago, 9 minutes ago, at that top lane, where you realized, okay, Shadow Fiend has killed one mid, killed one top, when Witch Doctor and the Bounty Hunter both kind of walked into him. That was their time. Go and take tier 2, start applying the pressure on the map, but you're going to see a counter smoke here from Summer's Rift as they walk into Bleak. They're going to get the track down onto him, the BKB's popped down, chasing down Nikwa, who blinks over the cliff. Echo Slam onto Hitch, though. Trout gets obliterated.
Very nice.
Even the, oh man, that's an Aghanim's Death Ward, level 2, bounty between them, but only now.
Good positioning.
MSS, hello. Standing in there into the Death Ward, but now maybe they can actually turn this. The wall is still down, still scary.
Oh,
back in. BKBs from Demon and the Gyrocopter looking to turn his fight. A good cast, bouncing between Crit and MSS. The Remnant jumps over and finds 2 of them. Nikwa with the first. Supernova. Now with a second, looking to find Ush, but all this finding is right-click attacks, taking him down low, has to refresh, has to dive away into the Supernova.
Beautiful.
The cask is now bouncing actually again back onto Ush. Drax, the damage output's there, it's insane. Looks like Summon's Rift going to get a full team wipe here, and all it cost them was a buyback from the Gyrocopter.
Yeah, and I mean, Trough took a risk there, but really, when you look at the economy, it's not that much of a risk. I mean, Bristleback and Darkseer, they just don't have the sustain in these fights. They just cannot cope with a prolonged engagement because of their low levels of farm. Whereas you saw all 3 of the Summer's Rift cores, and even the Witch Doctor with the full duration ult, able to contribute damage output in these fights. I mean, they're playing as a 5-man team at NAR or not. That's what this game boils down to right now.
4 tracks from Demon there. So 4 tracks,
beautiful.
I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like Death Ward goes down, it bounces between a couple. Shadow Fiend and Bristleback both back up. Darkseer stands there, just dropping down to a third of his HP from the Death Ward. So I'm not sure what the plan is, whether they really desperately wanted to try and re-engage. They got a good placement on the wall. The first vacuum was good. Second vacuum was even better, catching 2 heroes and dragging them in. But they just kept getting caught. There was no actual plan. Let's go in, get this hero, use these spells on these guys. There was just no sort of overriding plan from NAR to actually win a team fight. It just seemed like 5 players casting their own spells, not in unison, and there was no cohesion whatsoever, which is going to allow Summer's Rift here to get into the Roche Pit. So far uncontested, but NAR, they're going to get in here and try and do something. Demon pops the BKB. Trying to hold them out in the pit. The Fisher will land. Try and hold them out, but there's no real fight here for NAR with the Shadow Fiend dead.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, that's just, wow. Your 4-position Bounty Hunter is just able to hold the other team to doing nothing while your team takes Roche. I mean, they weren't necessarily positioned to contest anyway, but still. And I mean, you mentioned track, and obviously, that's so huge in this meta, especially. But Demon was able to get stuff done in this game before track came online. I mean, Bleak has never really recovered from that early pressure that Demon was able to put on him top lane together with Nikwa. and it's kind of spiraled out of control from there. I mean, look at this. This is what you're seeing more and more of in 6.84. 4 Summer's Rift players in the top 5 net worths, and part of that is obviously track gold, but part of that is now the kill bounties being distributed much more evenly. Teams that win these 4 and 5 player engagements are going to end up with multiple heroes at the top of the net worth board, and that's such a huge advantage.
Yeah, there's no longer that split where you have sort of a 2-1-2, where it's very well defined, and I was talking about it quite a lot halfway through the last patch about sort of nomenclature and the actual definition of roles, and saying how they're probably going to change in the near future, and they have to. They have to change this patch because there's no way you can call this bounty hunter a support. He's in the 4 role, but no way is he supporting this team. He's up there with 16,000 net worth. I don't know where we go or what kind of terms are going to be coined, but we need some new words, man.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. And I think that's actually a very underrated part of how the quote-unquote death ball, which, speaking of nomenclature, that's a term that I think needs to be clarified, because I think a lot of the 5-minute going on right now is not necessarily death balling. But that aside, I mean, the single most important limiting factor in Dota 2, progression-wise, is the fact that you've only got 6 inventory slots. And that's why the flatter gold distributions, even if the total amount of gold and the total gold lead is the same, the flatter gold distributions mean that a given gold lead is a bigger advantage, because all of a sudden you've got your whole team able to build items.
Well, they're actually pushing up into the secondary lane here, looking for another tier 3, as the Gyrocopter is sitting on the front line. Vicious Immortal, Satanic at the ready, and MKB. Yep, full MKB on the courier, just ready to be delivered. On its way now as Demon keeps throwing out these tracks. Ush, Bleak, who else has he got? Crit, while Fogged and MSS are actually in the back looking for an Echo, looking for a Vacuum. They've got Blinks on both of them. So definitely waiting for that big play where they can just, this is the saving grace for them, right? Just wombo combo them off the map. They'll find Demon with a nice Vacuum at the high ground, the Purge. They found one. That's Demon. That will force Summer's Rift to back themselves up, but where does it force them to? Their jungle. So the Dire is still trapped in their base. It doesn't give them anything, doesn't give them safety.
No, they're at the point, our NAR, where one pickoff is not going to do what they need. They need to win a major engagement, and with only one farmed hero, that's a really hard thing to do. I mean, it really does boil down to the fact that, you look at the net worth graph and you realize, over the last 15 minutes or so of the match, 20 minutes or so of the match, Summer's Rift were hovering between a 5 and 10k gold lead, but effectively it was a lot more than that, because so much of the NAR gold was concentrated on only one hero building super expensive items.
Well, this is the full protect one kind of playstyle. You mentioned that NAR aren't really that susceptible to the group up and push or go and take this. It's been this non-stop stream of fights, I feel, this current patch, where first blood is spilt, and then all of a sudden it's skirmish after skirmish. We saw this in 6.82 to some extent, where there was lots of short cooldown abilities picked up, people fighting in the jungle, and supports were quite mobile and moving around the map. But this patch is even more so.
Yeah, and again, we talk about terms that we don't necessarily like. 4 Protect 1 has actually been sort of a pet peeve of mine for a while, because it's not a good 4 Protect 1 is not just protect. You have to have your other 4 heroes able to generate some pressure as well. Otherwise, the enemy team is going to do what Summer's Rift have been doing and take objectives, get map control, and they're going to farm more of their heroes while you're concentrating on farming your 1. I mean, remember, it's as basic as it gets. So I hate to harp on the point, but there's a diminishing marginal return to gold in Dota 2. Items get more and more expensive.
Short here. Looks like Truff wants to go in with a cooldown to slow him down, and that means there's actually no re-engage or jump in from NAR.
Yeah.
But, NAR here, we've seen them multiple times in this game. Once Ush gets onto a lane, they literally have 4 heroes behind him waiting in the fog.
And they have to. I mean, they have so much invested in Ush at this point that a kill on him is so incredibly costly, even with the gold changes.
Star Observer wards up right next to the Radiant one. They'll try and take down that vision and limit what they can see. Valanta's done for Crit, as he's trying to build up a little bit here. Fogged. Not too much after that Blink Dagger, but MSS picking up a Ghost Scepter to try and survive through, the Gyro and
that's so dangerous too. I mean, it's kind of a sign of desperation, having to pick up both a Pipe and a Ghost Scepter. I mean, you're worried about magic damage, but you're also worried about right clicks. Boy, you can kill yourself in a hurry.
Yeah.
With that kind of a combination.
Well, he's got the pipe and he's got the Ghost Scepter, so he's kind of saved him. You know, he's sort of hedging his bets there, saving himself from both of them. But you find yourself in a situation so often. I
mean, look, Ush is familiar in this role. I mean, he is a hard farming player. This guy has put up incredible numbers in his still very young career, and I mean, he's capable of delivering. It's just, I still think we need to see NAR making some moves right here, and I don't see them making.
Well, there's your Hex over on Phoenix, and now after a refresher, that's massive.
Yeah, I mean, he is... How many carries now on the side of Summer's Rift? I mean, you want to talk about heroes that you can't call support. You sure as heck can't call this Phoenix a support now. Goodness gracious.
Him.
Yeah.
He's with a BKB as well. He's a major...
Yeah, that's all... I mean, literally... What other item does this Witch Doctor need? Like, what's he going to go after this?
Well, what can stop him now he has a BKB?
That is going to go ahead and be nothing.
There is nothing.
Yeah, there is literally nothing. Now, the Purge, Purge him while he's channeling his ulti.
Congrats.
Yay.
But you do have to see NAR, once they hear the cooldown, once they see the Witch Doctor pushing up and getting into position.
That's a courier.
Well, Death Ward, there we go. It's placed. Crit going to take a large chunk of damage here, but that means it's on cooldown. They'll get a track kill here for sure. Fisher thrown out, not going to do too much as Shadow Demon kind of accepts his fate. Also gives up a gem.
Boy, oh boy. Just from bad to worse in terms of giving up the gem there. Yeesh.
And now the movement comes in. So, Death Ward's down, they get a nice little kill. No buyback available on the Shadow Demon, kind of expect that. What are we looking at for the other heroes, though? Guess what? Shadow Fiend is the only hero on Dire that has a buyback. Oh, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Earthshaker has his. Down at the bottom. Kind of missed him, but he's got his.
Yeah. This... Really, it's going to boil down to Ush is going to have to make a spectacular
now the cooldown, Supernova, the first one from Phoenix. Ush has to buy back instantly here to defend his own base. They're going to lose the Shadow Fiend and now lose their tier 3. The question is, I said buy back instantly, but you just let this lane of Rax fall because you're losing hero after hero. Demon going in, tracking them up, and once again, he's on that frontman roll, keeping everyone back. MSS blinks in with a back into wall, catches one. As the Remnant out from that Ember Spirit, keeps them alive, keeps them out of danger. Satanic, holds by Trout, but in comes Nico again with a refresher. The second Supernova. Ush is hexed up and now turns back to fight Satanic of his own. Damage output not big enough. GG's called. NAR tap out, and Summer's Rift take game number 1 after what it looked like they were behind. They just kept the ball rolling.
And I gotta say, I mean, we doubted, or I'll speak for myself, I doubted Summer's Rift with all the recent lineup changes and some turmoil among the team. But boy, they executed this game so incredibly well, had a great feel of the tempo of this game, and just got their heroes strong and made it happen. And again, I'll reiterate, with 20 assists, I really think Nikwa's playstyle is so perfectly suited to this patch. Brax played a great Ember Spirit, but I think Nikwa's going to be my MVP of this game.
Some great early game aggression. They shut down Bleak's Bristleback something rotten, right? It was 0-5, 20 minutes into the game.
That's a rough game for a Bristleback.
Like no farm whatsoever.
And, no, the other, look at the other two cores for NAR, a combined 2 and 18 for the game. And that to me was the story of the whole thing. Those two heroes just never really got online. Ush flash farmed, but they lost map control too quickly, and those other two cores just got starved. But we'll see how NAR is going to come back and respond here in game 2. This is a good team. They're not going to go out easy.
Well, guys, we'll be back in a couple of minutes with game number 2, and it's best of 3. Let's see if NAR do, like you said, have it in them to bring themselves back, because this may be the deciding game coming up for that final spot. Austin, Texas, X Games going to MLG Season 2 Pro League. I'm Durka, joining me now, Haz and Kart. We'll be back in a couple of minutes after this short break.